friends, welcome back to this channel. My name is Stacy here with Stacy Makes, and we do cozy crochet content here on this channel. So if you are new here, thank you for being here. If you are not new, welcome back, and I appreciate you being here. So if you are new, my name is Stacy and I run a crochet business called Apple Tree Boutique, actually, which I know is weird because it does not match my YouTube name, but Apple Tree Boutique is a name that I have used for my online Etsy shop for, well, since 2006. So it's been a long time. It has been open for, let's see, is that 18 years? Yes, 18 years that I have had a business called Apple Tree Boutique. I actually had a physical store at one point. I went to markets a long time ago. I used to do hand sewn items, and then I transitioned into not doing much at all for a while as I went back to work full time. And then I kept the name and I kept the Etsy shop. I was doing selling some things still through there, and then I converted it over to crochet things. So this video is going to be all about my 2024 pattern wrap up, what I designed and released in 2024, and what sold the best, what sold the worst, and my thoughts on that, and then maybe some things that are coming for 2025. So if you're like me and you just maybe are kind of, one, it's for the information, right? Like, and that it might help you if you're a pattern designer or looking to design patterns, or also just kind of nosy about, like, once somebody releases a pattern, like all that work that goes into it, like, are they actually selling it? Are they making any money off of it? Because, you know, you see some of the bigger crochet businesses, you know, like their patterns are all over the place and people are just making them on all kinds of YouTube channels. And then there's smaller creators like me and designers like me who I'm releasing some stuff and it's, you know, it's selling a little here and there, but it's definitely not something that's going to be replacing my full-time income anytime soon, but it is nice for a little bit of side cash for sure. Some patterns have been worth every minute that I spent on them, writing them, tweaking them, making them over and over, testing them, rewriting the pattern, releasing, and all of those things. And some have been not so successful. So unfortunately, because I work full-time and I want to have everything I can at every market to sell, I sell off like everything I make pretty much. I really wish I would have kept one of every pattern just to have for myself, but I didn't. So I take my patterns to market, even the first ones that I make, and I put them up for sale. So the only patterns that I have to show you physically today are the ones that haven't sold at a market or I haven't taken to the market, which is the newer ones that I've made. So I will physically show you the ones that I do have here, but it's not very many. But I will put up a picture of each one as I talk about them. So I'm going to run through the year, kind of in chronological order of what I released, and then we'll talk about the ones that I sold the most of. So, and then we'll talk about some of the free patterns, or all the free patterns that I released in 2024. So, okay, in chronological order, if I keep looking this way, it's because I have made myself some notes, because there's no way I can remember all of these things, especially during this busy holiday season. But if I keep looking down, it's because I do have a piece of paper that I wrote all of these things on so I would not forget. So 2024 started with my release of my first tag-along friend. So my tag-along friends were, which the first one was Finn the Frog. So I'll put him up here where you can see him. And Finn was my first pattern release of 2024. I released him in February. Designed to he's kind of a different version of a leggy frog, but he's got a flat bottom. So if he's stuffed correctly, he should be able to sit like on a desk and his little legs kind of sit over the side. But he also has like a hole in the loop of his hand where he could be put over the side of a straw or something like that. I actually have one Finn here. This is a Finn that I had on hand that didn't sell at the last market. So just like, you know, little leggies and feet. He does have, you do make one of these, set it aside, make the other, and kind of crochet them around, kind of like you do like legs. And then it's just all, it's no sew though. And then there is, like I said, a little loop here where, you know, there's a little hole here where he can hang off of something. You could put a clip here if you wanted to hang him on something. And he's got one of those on every limb. And he's just small, tiny. He's a quick little make. He sells for $3, I believe, in my Etsy shop. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to look at my own Etsy shop patterns. So the tagalongs sell for $3 a piece. So these are $3 a piece on Etsy as far as the digital pattern goes, and they're sold individually. So he released in February. March, I released 2 tagalongs in March. I released Millie the monkey, which I don't have, and Milo the mouse, which I also don't have. Same concept with the arms and the legs, flat bottom, you know, about the same size, about the same amount of effort and time to make those. And so those were the patterns I released in March. Also $3 a piece. All the tagalongs are $3. And then I released Barry the bee, which also a tagalong. Don't have one of him either. And I released him in April. So February, March, and April was 4 tagalong friends. And so that's the only tagalongs that I designed. I think when I released the last few and they didn't go, like Finn the Frog was definitely the most successful out of all of the tagalongs, and they just kind of seemed like the excitement for them. I don't know if it's just because of the frog itself, the animal, or if it was just like, okay, how many of these are you going to do, Stacy, or what it was about this design in itself. But as I made more, it just seemed like the excitement for this style kind of went away. So I kind of stopped. I'm like, okay, I made 4. I'm like, I'm going to put that on the back burner. And I mean, I had a whole list of animals that I wanted to make in this style that I haven't even designed or tried yet, but may or may not come back around to the tagalong style at some point. But that's kind of where I started 2024 at. I did take a little break. After that, I stopped. I didn't design any patterns for a while until I kind of felt some inspiration in the summer when I designed Pepper the skunk. So Pepper kind of just came out of nowhere. I do have a Pepper, which this is the only Pepper I have left, and probably because this one's made out of non-traditional colors. But this is Pepper the skunk, but not in obviously skunk colors, and this is Sweet Snuggles Light. But I will pop up a picture of the traditional Pepper the skunk pattern and colors. This pattern, I don't know, I don't remember how this idea came about, but I think I was looking for a skunk pattern because we have a school around here that is the polecats, which is another name for a skunk. And I thought, well, that'll be kind of maybe something that someone might want. And I'm like, we see skunks around here all the time, and maybe people will be like, you know, people will think it's funny. You know, they love possums, and maybe they'll also love skunks, you know, and I thought, I haven't seen one that was just kind of shaped, you know, the way that Pepper was shaped. And so I just went to designing Pepper. So I released Pepper in June. She's the only one, Pepper is the only animal I have that's kind of in this style. Now I do have more ideas for taking this same type of shape and making other types of animals that are of similar, you know, similar animals in that shape also, you know, and designing them at some point, but obviously didn't happen in 2024. So, okay, after Pepper came all of my sitting, I don't know what you call them, my sitting animals. Kind of the same idea as the tagalongs, but in a bigger version, right? Like when you take plushies to market, they're either standing or they're made in a way where they just don't sit like up, like on a shelf or to see them, or a lot of times, you know. So the sitting animals that I designed next, I wanted to be able to create a face shape that looked like the animal, so they couldn't be no-so, because I wanted to build the face from the front back and then build the body from the bottom up, so his bottom could be flat. And so Gordon the gator was the first sitting animal that I designed, and I'll show you Gordon on the screen. I released Gordon in July. Pepper the skunk sells for $3 on Etsy as well. But anyway, Gordon the gator and the sitting animals, they're $4.50 on Etsy. But Gordon, if the picture's not up, I'll put it up. It is low sew. You do have to sew the head onto the body. The whole collection of sitting animals are that way. You make the head. If there's ears or anything like that on the head, it's all sewn into the head, and the arms and legs are all sewn into the body. So the only things you're sewing is the head to the body at the very end. Which I think gives you the opportunity to really give it the shape that it needs to, and the definition, and to not have to worry about, like, you know, your tension and your rounds and making sure that everything lines up with your arms and legs. A lot of times on no-sew patterns you have to really worry about that, but when you make your head separate and you make sure your ears and stuff are lined up with maybe your snouts and stuff, and then your arms and legs are lined up on your body, and then you just stick your head on your body exactly where it lines up, and you sew it exactly where you need to sew it. So anyway, Gordon the gator was the first release in that collection. They sell for $4.50, and he released in July. I don't have a copy of him. After Gordon came, let's see, Betty. So Betty the cow came after Gordon. I don't have a copy of her either. One of her either. I sold all of the physical Bettys that I had at every market. But there's a solid, you can make her solid, where you just color change for her hooves and her ears and her snout. Or there's a spotted version where you can make one spot on the front of her. Of course, you know, if you're more than an advanced beginner, you know, you can freehand spots on crochet if you're, you know, done it long enough. So Betty the cow came after Gordon, and is also part of the sitting animals, and is $4.50 on Etsy. After Betty came Parker the pig, and I also don't have a Parker. I'm so sorry. I don't have hardly any of these to show you guys, and I hate that, but there was no time either this week trying to make Christmas stuff and wrap all my presents to try to make them either for this video. But obviously I'll put it up on the screen. But when I make a Parker, I sell a Parker, usually at a show, which was true this last time I went, because I made a Parker and I sold one. So I didn't have one to show you today. But Parker is just a sweet little pig. So all of the sitting animals have a little bit, almost all of them, have a little bit of face shaping you can also do on the head to kind of pull and shape, you know, in like around the snouts and things like that too. Or you can also, there's an option in there to pull the head down to the body to kind of, and so the head's not just up like this, it's more down onto the body. So when it's sitting, it's more at you instead of kind of looking up, kind of a preference thing. So there's a couple options in there for things like that. But Parker is, I just love Parker's sweet pig ears. It's just like, and Parker's snout. I just think it's so adorable. But Parker was released in August of this year. So she was the third sitting animal. After Parker came Lindy the lamb. So I have Lindy, which she has a tag on her, because I had two Lindys and I sold one of them at the last show. This is Lindy, which I don't know, she may need fluffed. She was in my plushie bag. She's been to a few markets with her sweet blue eyes. Lindy doesn't have any face shaping. She's the one exception to the face shaping rule, where she doesn't have any face shaping, but you can kind of see the size of the sitting animals here, because they all have the same pretty much body, but they have different, all the same arms. They have different tails, if there's a tail, and they have different shapes to like the ends of their legs or feet. They all have different ears and a little bit of a different face shape, obviously, for the animal. But they are all this basic shape. So this is Lindy the lamb. She released in September, and she's named after my mama, whose name's Linda. And then after Lindy came Bubbles the hippo, which I don't have one of her. I'll obviously put up a picture of this pattern. And that was the 5th and final sitting animal of 2024 that I designed. So I did the gator, Gordon the gator, Betty the cow, Parker the pig, Lindy the lamb, and Bubbles the hippo. And all those sitting animals have, you know, some of the basic body shapes are similar. They're low, so just head to the body. They're all $4.50 on Etsy. And that's all. That's all about that. That's the only ones I've designed in 2024. Kind of like the tagalongs. I got to the end of doing that in September and was like, I have a list of animals that can be made in this, obviously made in this same style, that I would love to add to the collections, but I just haven't gotten around to designing. Fall is market season. We got into having to just prep. So I was surprised I got Lindy and Bubbles into September before it was just time to really focus on prepping like crazy. So I had to shift my focus to making inventory and moving on to inventory and not pattern designing for the rest of the fall season. So after Bubbles the hippo, the last pattern I designed in 2024 was the one I just released this last week, which I designed after my last market of 2024, which was the sitting birds pattern. So I do have those because they didn't get a chance to go to market. But that is Rowdy the rooster, Plato the pigeon, and Posey the penguin. So this sitting birds pack has all 3 in it, and it doesn't have it when you do buy this pack. It has each bird on its own pages, which if it's too complicated, I like it that way, so that you're not trying to like, okay, I'm trying to follow the pigeon mods, you know, like so you don't have like one pattern where you're trying to follow all the pigeon mods that's in there. It's completely separate. When you buy the pattern, it's the rooster on 2 pages, then it's the pigeon on 2 pages, or the penguin, and then it's the pigeon. So you are getting the full pattern, even though their body styles, the shapes of each one is exactly the same. The wings, the beak, and the feet are all the same. They are on separate pages, so that when you know that you're making the pigeon, you can go to that page and it talks about those colors only, and only the pigeon parts and stuff, so that you don't have to worry about getting confused. But yes, so these are also designed to be sitting animals, I guess, in a way, but more like the sitting birds. They do have this cute little like shape to them, where they kind of like come out on the back, and then they're more flat on the bottom, where they just look like they're just kind of squatting and sitting down and poofed out on the back. This is the penguin I made the other day that was just in posh, so cute. So these just released this last week on Friday, so 2 days ago, and that was my most recent pattern. So that was just a weird inspiration that kind of came out of the rooster, is kind of what hit me, and just all my markets were over, and I was like, okay, I need to make this rooster that is in my brain, and I just had to get it out of my brain and onto paper, and I did. And then I was like, man, you could turn this into other things, and I'm like, what could I turn it into? And so it just kind of evolved from there into other birds, and I could have went on and on, but I really wanted to get it out. And there may be a Sitting Birds 2.0 coming at some point, I don't know, of another set of birds. But it might be hard to beat Rowdy the Rooster. He's probably my favorite of the 3. So, But anyway, okay, so that was all the patterns I designed in 2024. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. That's 11 patterns. I did have 3 free patterns I designed, which we'll talk about at the end in 2024 that I released. But obviously they were free. So I designed 11 paid patterns in 2024. And because of the way that they were released throughout the year, I could have went through, I mean, I did go through Etsy and just be like, which one had the most sales, but it would have been, you know, some of them have only been on Etsy for 3 months and others have been on Etsy for 10 months, you know. So I wanted to some way prorate it out where it made sense, where if I took the way it sold in 3 months and I prorated it out for a year, let's just imagine that if it performs the same way it did in the first 3 months for a whole year. So that's kind of what I did. I took every pattern and I prorated it out so that I could say what the best sellers would have been if they'd all performed about the same and had been listed for a whole year. That makes sense? And really, honestly, when I did that, it didn't change the ranking of how many I sold that wasn't prorated. I know that sounds weird, but it didn't really change it. So let's get into my best sellers. So the one I have sold the most actual digital patterns of is Pepper the Skunk. I have sold the most Pepper the Skunks. It's been out for 6 months. It's, I think, just because it's a unique shape that, I mean, maybe nobody else has ever, I mean, I don't know what the draw was to Pepper. I do know that I had several friends that also have YouTube channels that that tested and or bought this pattern and made it and promoted it as well, which always helps. And then, you know, people were watching my channel and making it and promoting it and tagging it, and all of that helps. But Pepper was definitely my most sold quantity of patterns in 2024. But if I prorate out, the Sitting Birds will beat Pepper. If the way that the Sitting Birds sold in the last 2 days, which it won't, if the last 2 days ends up being the way it sells every month for the next 12 months, which it probably won't, it will end up maybe being just as good as Pepper the Skunk. We'll see where that goes. So I'm going to say right now that the Skunk and the Sitting Birds are probably going to end up being my 2 best sellers of 2024. After that, Gordon the Gator comes in 3rd. Parker the Pig comes in 4th. And Betty the Cow comes in 5th. So the birds, the skunk, the gator, the pig, and the cow were my top 5 selling patterns of 2024. Was it the animals? Was it the design? Was it the promotion of it? I don't really know. I'm not really shocked at that so much. I guess because they're probably some of my most well-loved patterns that I designed in 2024 too, because I feel like we all kind of have our favorites. I will tell you that something that does surprise me is that in my bottom 3 is Lindy the Lamb, which this lamb, excuse me, sorry, I'm all stepped up. Lindy the Lamb, I just feel like, I just feel like she's just such a sweet character, you know. I just feel like she just has there's just a sweet baby, I don't know, there's just a sweetness to Lindy that I thought which would draw people to her in a way, and I just really like Lindy. So she's in my bottom 3. Milo the Mouse is in my bottom 3. And my least sold pattern of 2024 is Bubbles the Hippo. I will say that that kind of surprises me. Like this pattern not just didn't sell hardly at all. Like this pattern like tanked. I sold, I'm going to be really raw and honest with you guys. I sold 5 copies of this pattern at $4.50 a piece, which means I made $22.50 minus Etsy fees. I mean, I have not near gotten back, you know, my time and energy I've put into that pattern. I mean, granted, it was the body style and stuff is the sitting animals, but I still had to design the full face shape, change the way the feet were done. I had to design all the ears and the way, you know, all of that was done. And I was really surprised that Bubbles the hippo, and I don't know, Bubbles came out in September, and so did Lindy, right when my market season hit. And when my market season hit, I had no time to promote anything either. I was not talking about these patterns on my channel because I was knee deep in markets and market prepping and showing you guys what I've made. I was not making reels. I was not promoting these on my Instagram, my YouTube shorts, or anything like that. So I wouldn't say I highly promote my patterns after I list them anyway, which is something I'd like to do better at in 2025. But I think that probably hurt it at some point, that it just kind of silently released. I may have posted it. I mean, I'm sure I posted it on my Instagram and maybe put it on my story once. And then I was like, I got busy and like life just happened, and my testers maybe tagged it a little bit, and everyone else maybe was in market prep mode and also was busy, or maybe hippos just aren't a thing. I don't know what that, you know, why that could have been, but definitely something that surprised me. I mean, I sold 5 copies. I mean, my next pattern that was, you know, my next worst selling pattern, Milo, prorated out. I mean, I sold 20 copies of Lindy. So, I mean, that's still not wonderful. And I released her just like a couple weeks before I released Bubbles. And so I only sold 20 copies of her. So, I mean, really, I feel like 20 broke me even. I mean, if you really consider how many times it takes to make a pattern, and you frog it and you're rewriting it and you're perfecting it, like for sometimes for weeks before anyone even knows you're working on it, sometimes months, I mean, depending on what it is. And then you finally post your tester calls, and you're working in an Instagram group, and you're answering all these questions from your testers. They're all working through it, and they're putting their time and their energy into it for you, which is amazing that people volunteer their time to do that, which thank you for anyone that is watching that has ever tested a pattern for me. And then you do all the promotion of taking all your pictures and finalizing your PDFs and writing all your listings and your descriptions, and you're setting a price and making sure that your final pattern is well put together and getting it all posted, and then you doing all your promotional type things. It's quite the event, you know, to release a pattern. And so I would say 20 sales of Lindy, you know, might have broke me even on my effort. So it wasn't really, I wouldn't say that was a success either, but definitely the other ones that were more successful made up for it. So my birds have really shocked me the last few days, which I did run a sale on release day, which I think that helped. People felt like, you know, people are like, oh, those sitting birds are cute, I'm going to get them someday. But when you run a promotion on the day that they release, they're like, I'm going to get them today because they're on a promotion today. And I don't run promotions very often on my patterns. If you don't know that, I didn't run a Black Friday promotion. I ran a promotion on my birthday last year, which I didn't have that many patterns released. It was April. So, you know, I don't run promotions very often. And so like that release day, which it's obviously over right now, but I had so many people that took advantage of that I don't know if that's why, if it was just, I also had friends that tested the pattern who had YouTube channels that also showed them and talked about them, promoted them, shared them, and so people were seeing their videos on my release day, which was an amazing coordination that was not planned. But anyway, so it just happened to work out that way, and I think that, I mean, the sitting birds, even if I sell no more of them, I mean, the effort and the time that I put into them the last few weeks will have been worth it, and I appreciate the love and stuff that you guys have shown them. I just, something about the little feet, I mean, like, you could put these feet on however you want, but I like to put them on where the little claws are like kind of rolling up. You could put them on, I think Sue put hers on where they're kind of coming down, which you could do that where it kind of looks like if he's sitting on something, he might look like he's kind of clamping on to the side of a desk or whatever. And I don't know why I like to try to put mine this way. But there's just something that's just a little derpy funny about this rooster. And I took him to, I took my prototypes to the very last market I had of 2024, and I sold 2 out of the 3 at that market, and the only one I didn't sell was the jumbo one, which I should have had down here to show you. It's over there, but he got a lot of attention that day too. But the smaller prototypes sold that day, and people would just like, oh, look at that rooster, and they would laugh about him and they think it was funny. I didn't have the penguin or the pigeon finished enough to take to that, so they haven't went to a market yet. But anyway, so hopefully you enjoyed that little breakdown of my best sellers of 2024 and the worst sellers, and a little behind the scenes information about how, you know, not every pattern is successful, and you don't always know why. And I think that's it about my patterns of 2024 anyway. So I do want to talk a little bit about, obviously my Etsy link is down in the description below if you guys want to, if you want to follow the Etsy link and find any of these patterns. They're on my Etsy, obviously. The link is down in my description. But my free patterns of 2024 that I designed, I did design 3 free patterns and release them in 2024. The first one, which I had one of these, and I'm beating myself up because I should have grabbed one, and I don't know why I didn't. I grabbed the ice cream keychain, and I should have grabbed the tumbler keychain at the same time, but I didn't, because I probably had at least one left. But anyway, it was the tumbler keychain, which I will put a picture, and it's actually a YouTube tutorial. So the tumbler keychain is on YouTube. It's free. It's very, very fast. Like, I can make these in like 8 minutes once you learn to make them. I love to do them in Posh or Naughty Ball yarn. They are, because that yarn is soft, but it's structured. If you do it in something like Parfait Chunky, it's just kind of too squishy and it doesn't take the shape as much. But everybody, when the keychains are out on my table, I mean, I don't know how many tweens and teens like bought these keychains to clip on their backpack clips, you know, and they're like, oh my gosh, look at these, you know, so-and-so needs one of these. They're so obsessed with Stanley's, and they just thought they were cute. And so it's a free pattern on YouTube. I freehanded that early last year and was making them, and I just thought I'd share that with you guys on YouTube as one of my, I think I did it as a bonus video, and it's a horrible tutorial. Maybe I'll redo it someday. I don't know. But anyway, so it's on YouTube. Free pattern of 2024 was the tumbler. You can find it on my channel. The second free pattern I did in 2024 was the ice cream keychain. It is this little guy here. It's just an ice cream cone. I also like to make these out of Posh and Naughty Ball. This pattern is on my Instagram, which, if you don't understand what that means, Instagram, I actually have that one pinned at the top. So if you go to my Instagram page and you go down to my post at the bottom, the top row of my Instagram pictures and page at the bottom are pinned posts. One's like Meet the Maker, and it's just a post about me. And then one is, I don't even know what the middle one is, but there's one that's pinned, and it's the ice cream. Oh, it's the other free pattern. So it's the ice cream keychain is one of them. And so you click on it and you can go through the pictures. There's like 6 or 7 slides, and it is the pattern. I have thought about, because I know a lot of people like to they hate going to Instagram and having to click through, and when they want to use something, which, I mean, feel free to write it down in a notebook if you keep a notebook of smaller patterns in like your project bag or something. But I know a lot of people who post free patterns turn around and post them for like $1 on Etsy, which kind of just covers your fees. And that way you can get a digital copy if you want. And I do plan to do that, and it'll say on the front that it's my free Instagram, so you can go get it for free on Instagram, so I don't feel bad about charging the $1. And it's really, I'm not going to make anything off of it. It's, you know, you're going to make like 15 cents probably by the time you charge $1. But anyway, so it's on Instagram at the top. It's a pinned post, and it is this little ice cream keychain. Now this is Posh Naughty Ball yarn. I say it's a keychain, but if you did this in like jumbo yarn, it could be just like an actual plushie that you could sell maybe for, you know, in your $5, $8, $10 bin, something like that. Those are super, super fast too. And then my last free pattern I did in 2024 was Baldy the Baby Eagle, and it is this little guy. He's the other pinned post at the top of my Instagram. And he is also in my YouTube community page. So if you go to my channel and the community part, like you have to kind of slide over, it'll say like videos and playlists and lives, and you keep sliding over. There's a community page where it's like anything I post. And if you scroll down, you'll find the copy of him there too. It's for people who don't have Instagram. But he is also free. But this is in Sweet Snuggles Light. This is Baldy the Baby Eagle. The hard part was just kind of trying to explain how to do these loops, which I tried my best without a video to try to explain how to do these. But anyway, I think I'd love to turn Baldy the Eagle into a sitting bird at some point. But this is just a quick little market make, and it's just a little free pattern I have on my Instagram. So just like to do small little ones that are like easy. You know, I like to just do them for free for you guys, if nobody is out there trying to sell it and make money off of the exact same thing, and it's complicated or something. You know, I don't mind to put it out for you guys if I have the time, for you guys for free, you know, just to share something that small that maybe I've freehanded or something. So I think that's all I have for you guys. I'd love for you to just, hopefully you enjoyed this type of video. I know it's different for me. I usually share what I've crocheted this week, but I will be honest, the only thing I have crocheted this week is this penguin, this rooster, and I finished a cow for my niece for Christmas, and I have been working on a blanket, and that's it. I've been wrapping presents. I've got everything wrapped and tagged and ready, and which is great. So I've been doing that, and I'm off work for like a week and a half. I am so excited to spend some time with my family for the holidays and just get some downtime and just to reset and relax. Just super excited about that. So hopefully you guys get the same opportunity to do some of that over your holiday break, if you're getting one at all. If you're not getting one because you're in a field that doesn't really get a chance to take a break, we appreciate you. I know that there are lots of fields like the medical field and the retail fields, and you know, fields that like keep our lights on and stuff like that, that, you know, don't really get a break, whether it's the holidays or the not, because you're always needed, and for that we thank you. I really do appreciate that. So thank you guys for being here. Hopefully you enjoyed this type of video. Let me know maybe what your favorite pattern is that I released in 2024 down in the comments. And I think that's all I've got for you guys today. So I appreciate you guys being here. Have a great Christmas. I won't see you guys until next weekend. I don't think I'll be posting any bonus footage or anything this week with Christmas, but have a great Christmas if you guys celebrate Christmas, and hopefully you get a chance to enjoy it and have some downtime. And thank you for being here, and happy crocheting, guys. We'll see you later. Bye.